I didn't ruin my life, not in the obvious way people imagine. There was no single mistake, no dramatic moment, no collapse, nothing fell apart. I just waited. And one day, I realized I had been waiting for most of my life. From the outside, my life looked reasonable, not exciting, not tragic, just reasonable. I had a job that paid the bills, a routine that kept everything moving, responsibilities that explained why I was always tired. People saw me as dependable, reliable, someone who handled things. And I took pride in that. I told myself this was adulthood, that this was what stability looked like. My days followed a pattern. Wake up, get ready, go where I needed to go, have the same conversations with the same people. Even my free time felt planned. Weekends weren't something I looked forward to. They were recovery periods. Time to rest just enough to repeat the same week again. Nothing was clearly wrong. And because nothing was wrong, I never questioned anything. That's the danger of a life that works. It doesn't ask if you're fulfilled. It only asks if you're functioning. There was a feeling I couldn't name. Not sadness, not anger, just a quiet heaviness. I noticed it in small moments. When something good happened and I barely reacted. When days blended together and I couldn't tell one week from the next. When conversations felt familiar before they even started. I would listen to people talk and realize I already knew what they were going to say. I told myself I was just tired, that this was normal. Everyone around me seemed exhausted too. We joked about it. We laughed about getting older. We compared aches, schedules, responsibilities. I didn't realize I was slowly lowering my expectations of life, not on purpose, just gradually. I became very good at waiting. Waiting sounded responsible. Later, when things calm down, when it makes more sense, there was always a reason. Sometimes it was money, sometimes timing, sometimes other people, and sometimes it was fear, but I never called it that. I told myself I was being patient, that rushing would be reckless. I believed waiting was the mature choice. After all, I wasn't running from problems. I was handling things. But waiting became a habit. Whenever something uncomfortable appeared, a question, a desire, a restlessness, I postponed it. Not forever, just until later. And later always felt safer than now. Later didn't require explanations. Later didn't require courage. Later felt harmless. Waiting doesn't take everything at once. It takes small things first. Curiosity, energy, the ability to imagine different versions of yourself. I stopped asking questions. I stopped wondering what my life could look like if I made different choices. I stopped thinking in possibilities and started thinking in obligations. I didn't hate my life. I just stopped expecting anything from it. That's the part no one warns you about. Nothing feels urgent, so you assume you have time. And because you assume you have time, you keep waiting. Days pass quietly, years follow, and one day you realize you've been living on pause without ever pressing stop. The moment wasn't dramatic. There was no breakdown, no argument, no crisis. I was doing something ordinary, something I had done hundreds of times before. And suddenly, a thought appeared. If nothing changes, this is how my life will look until the end. Not worse, not better, just this. That thought didn't scare me. It unsettled me because it felt accurate. There was no emotion attached to it, no panic, just clarity. That's when I understood something. I hadn't ruined my life. I had postponed it, and postponing had slowly become my default response to everything. Waiting often hides behind responsibility. It wears sensible clothing. It sounds logical. It says things like, "This is the smart choice." Other people depend on you. You can't just change things now. And sometimes all of that is true. But responsibility without honesty turns into quiet resentment. You show up. You do what's expected. You meet obligations. You keep things running. But inside, something disconnects. You start feeling like a background character in your own life. I realized I had been loyal to a version of life that no longer fit me. Not because it was wrong, but because I had outgrown it. I didn't fix my life overnight. There was no dramatic transformation. I didn't quit everything. I didn't reinvent myself. I didn't suddenly feel brave. I just became honest. I admitted that later was a decision, that staying was a choice, that time wasn't waiting for me to feel ready, that honesty didn't change everything immediately. But it changed how I saw everything. It made excuses visible. It made patterns obvious. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. I didn't ruin my life, but I did wait too long to listen to myself. I waited because it felt safe, because it made sense, because it didn't require courage. And I didn't realize the cost until years had passed quietly. Waiting isn't neutral. It always costs something. Sometimes it costs time, sometimes clarity. Sometimes the version of yourself you never allowed to exist. Time doesn't pause while you decide. And eventually, waiting becomes the decision.